Okay. Hi. So we today are going to talk about again I think the energies, the portals, the eclipse energy. And I just feel like it's really helpful for people who, because it's a lot of people are really being hit with it. They don't know what to do with it. It's causing depression, anxiety, confusion, and which is kind of normal. But real quick, before I'm gonna turn it over to Mehernez in a minute, I just wanted to mention, because one of the things that's been happening is when I've been channeling for people, and I think Beth has had the same experience, I'll let you comment, is, I'm used to hearing an answer. And lately it's been, well, yes and no. Or it's like a digital movement of timelines, like pick a card. And so I was like, I don't like that. I said, well, what is this about? And I was told that it's a time where we need to make a decision and everything will fall into place as long as you make the decision and hold the faith. So with that, what have you been getting, Beth, when you're channeling?
Yeah, sort of similar. I think decisions are a really big thing, like make a decision. And sometimes it is a very clear, it needs, this is option one, this is option two. And sometimes it's really nebulous and it's a continued thing. So at first I thought it was just one decision, right? But it's something that keeps going. And I think what it feels like almost is, so I'll go back even some, there have been times before where I feel like my higher self has kind of like tried to hand me the reins and said, no, I'm not giving you guidance. You make this decision. Nope, that was the wrong decision. So that was before, right? And I would get so mad, I'd be like, you gave me the reins, I made my choice, and then you told me, no, that was wrong. And I'm like, okay, but that was training, right? And I was a little bit more stubborn than I am now. So now though, I'm still definitely feeling the make a choice, but it's continued, and it's almost putting at the forefront, you are at a crossroads, or at a fork in the road. Make a choice and be very present and very clear with your choice. But it's with every choice that you're making is really, really pronounced right now. And it's like this, a friend always says it's fine tuning. And I really resonate with that more than anything right now. It really feels like the fine tuning that's going on with decisions. And then the other thing is, with these choices, independence and sovereignty has been pushed for so long. And I fully, stand behind that at 100%. But now I'm starting to get choices and questions where it's like, is this just for you, or would this be better served with somebody else's energy in it? It's fine tuning and discerning when you need to go forward on your own and when you need to go forward with help. Because sometimes you do need a little bit of help and a little bit of an energy boost from somebody else, or somebody has like a puzzle piece that complements your puzzle piece, or whatever the case might be. It's these like kind of different things. And the only other thing that I'll add, and I'm sure after Mehernez talks, like it'll spur more, oh yeah, I also felt and heard this.
Well, that's what she wants, for us to add
Perfect.
in.
So that's how it usually works anyway. But I think the other thing that's been coming through really strongly is nothing is as it seems. You need to just have faith, right? So like everything I know deep down in my heart, it looks like the absolute opposite is going on in the world right now.
But remember, we talked about this, right? It's the law of opposite. And this is where most people lose faith. They say, shit, it's not working, I give up. And what the thing is, when you manifest something, you will see the opposite before you see it. You have to see the opposite first, and you have to hold your faith and not turn and go the other way. You got to stay in your choice point. And it's not easy. We're all going through it, right? It sucks. We're like, but what I've been told lately, for my guidance, stay in the moment. When it gets like this, when the energy starts pushing you, pull yourself, make sure you're in the present moment. Just walk through the present moment for now. You don't have to look at other things, because when you stay in the present moment, these things don't push at you, because you're usually, the energy's about, well, I was going to do this, and now what's going on? What's going on? They come back to the present moment until you're centered. And calm. Go on. I'm sorry I interrupted, but it's important.
It is important. So I never knew that before about the law of attraction before we talked about that, but I know that my guidance was really strong, and they were flat out telling me things are about to like turn upside down, flip on their head. It's going to look like everything is going in the absolute opposite direction that you want it to. Just, you need to like hold your faith and stay strong. If you change your mind about something, that's something different, right? Mm-hmm. Because adjacent doors and possibilities are opening up as well. So a lot of times I'll just throw this out there and then just stop for a moment, because we could go on forever. Let Mehernez talk about the energy, and then we'll start bouncing off each other. But the other thing is when I am trying to say I want something, sometimes I get stuck with being too specific or too nebulous, right? Because I want to be nebulous enough that the universe can bring in something bigger and better for me. But I also want to be specific that like I've gone through life enough to realize this is not what I want. This is not what I want. So instead of saying not this, not this, not this, you know, I kind of say, well, this is what I see. And I always end it with or better. Because
this is something better. This is, yes.
Leaves the door open enough for the nebulous, you know, and that those adjacent doors can start opening. Because now that I'm here and I manifested something back here, maybe my perspective has changed completely. So it's just, it's one more like little thing that you can do. But Mehernez, why don't you tell us about with the stars and planets?
Yes, the changing of the energies. We want it.
I love it. I love how this conversation was so on point with it. So, all right, great. So let me get started. So this is such a powerful peak moment. And I know I keep saying that. In 2020 had a lot of those. So I am not kidding this time. But we are in the center eclipse of 3 eclipses in the eclipse season. Not just that, this particular eclipse is literally, it's at around midnight New York Eastern time. So it's Saturday night going into Sunday morning, and Sunday is the solstice. So throughout history, whenever solstices and eclipses have kind of come together, solstices are the time that lifts the veil between worlds, and eclipses hasten and make the inevitable happen quicker. So it is literally doing that together. So it's a very fierce energy. And also, you know, the eclipse is right on the north node. So that is, you know, going forward. And the node at this point in time is in Aquarius, you know, the Aquarian age. Now, we always kept talking about how 2020 was going to bring the shift. And now we're literally in the peak of that shift. So it's also rare that 3 eclipses happen. So back to back, usually it's 2, the full moon, it's followed by a new moon. But when a 3rd eclipse happens, it switches node. It's like, have you ever seen like running a race and a relay and you're handing over the banner? So the Cancer Capricorn eclipse, you know, was the theme, and now we're moving into this Gemini Sagittarius theme. So I'll talk a little bit about that in a bit. My God, there's so much. So now there's one more alignment, which is very powerful. When the solar eclipse happens, it's like a ring of fire, because you can just see the edge of the sun. And this ring of fire, it's not something we will see here in the US, but it is happening right above India, Pakistan, Tibet, that area. It's right on top of Mount Kailash, which is a very strong portal of, you know, it's known as the crown center of Mother Earth. So that's where it's the receiver, literally. So the ring of fire is right on top of Mount Kailash. And for those Shiva believers, again, very powerful energy. And Shiva is all about death and rebirth. He's the Pluto destruction before the rebirth. And then this eclipse, the ring of fire, is right on top of what we call the galactic cross, which is like a nodal point. Think of it as an acupressure point of the galaxy. You know, that's where the eclipse is literally happening on top of. So we are going through the transition into and out of the womb of the galaxy, not just our planetary system. So everything is about the shift. now the eclipse itself, the solar eclipse happens in the sign of Cancer. So Cancer, the mother, the nurturer, you know, so again, we're going back to the womb. We're going back to the energies of rebirthing. We're going back
It
to
feels
shifting.
like it, yes. Sorry, I'm sorry.
No,
Go on.
No, tell me.
It feels like it. I don't know how sensitive you guys are to energy, but I can feel the energy. It's just it feels like contractions. Yes, that's the word. It does. It feels like contractions. There's
a lot of those contractions before you can give birth, right? So absolutely. So the reason you feel contraction is there is a very strong Saturnian aspect to it, and Saturn always contracts. So I'll get to it. But let me first talk about Cancer and the mother and the womb. And so it's really, this eclipse is really about acknowledging our emotions and going deep down what your vulnerabilities are, and you know, also not just doing it yourself, but allowing others to do the same. Like, when was the last time we openly spoke about what was your race, and when was that comfortable? You know, so people are now finally having these conversations and acknowledging another's vulnerability. Like, I mean, I'm just talking about the macro as we talk about, because it's whatever's happening inside is also happening outside. It's as above, so below. So there is a Gemini influence in this eclipse, and that's why we're finally communicating, or being okay with communicating, what was forbidden, or kind of forbidden to or allowed to be said. And so we're doing that for ourselves too. So when you're talking about the whole you know, the shifting and the decision making, it's so I'll come to Saturn. So now Saturn is making an interesting, it's called a quincunx. It's a very interesting aspect, because it's not like a regular trine and square. So it's bringing the struggle between what you want to do and what your freedom allows, and what you have to do, or what is necessary as a responsibility, because Saturn is all about discipline. So it's like, you know, freedom and versus discipline, literally, but kind of instead of letting them fight with each other, bringing them to a balance where it says, yes, I'm allowed my freedom, and my freedom ends when where another person's no starts, you know, and that type of coming together. Because when we have to understand what coming together means, we really have to understand what standing in our sovereignty means, and then with being in our sovereignty, coming together, you know. So each person is sovereign in their own way, and then you're coming together. So that's where that Saturn energy that you're feeling, push pull, you know, you're very so on point, which is why I love your opinions, because it's like that gives the perspective or the manifestation of the energies and helps make sense of them, right? Another interesting thing that's going on is we have a very strong, Venus is still in retrograde. It's been in retrograde for the last month, and it's still in retrograde. And Venus retrograde is also about, again, borders, self-love, and it's sextiling Black Moon Lilith, and in Aries. And so this is like rising of raw power. This is like, you know, just now, again, because it's happening with Venus, we have the choice of using that raw power to make love or to make war. But
I was gonna say, when you said raw, I'm thinking sexual power. That's my shut up, Ben. No.
You know, it manifests in every way. So, you know, I don't see why not, you know. So it does literally manifest in every way.
It does. I agree. It's very powerful.
So it is really that primal life force energy that brings up the birthing, you know. So it literally is that. But Lilith, because she comes up, I want to talk a little bit about her. She is, you can call her like a counterpart of Mars, but the lady, you know, the warrior, and when she's in Aries, that just brings, so that's like Lilith and Mars coming together. But for the sake of Venus, it's sextiling Venus. So we're bringing in the raw power in order to eventually bring ourselves to love. So it's like, it's it's an antithesis, it's a contraindication, but the purpose, the idea is to not lose sight of purpose. Any revolution that has ever happened in mankind's history, the lesson always is to not get lost in the fight itself and not lose track of why you began the fight, not lose track of your goal.
Yeah, that's another thing that keeps coming up is keep your eye on the prize. Like that phrase over and over and over. And that is basically, like the shift or the ascension, like that is the prize. But like keep your eye on the prize, just keeps coming up. Yeah.
There you go. Exactly. Yes. No. Beautiful. Thank you. Thank you for that. So now again, Uranus is still in Taurus. It's going to be like that all year. So Gaia is going through a major shift. But now Saturn, which is going to go in Aquarius, is basically showing us the new way of the new age, and it encourages us to kind of redefine everything. Redefine status, redefine legacies, redefine the old ways, redefine ancestral patterns. This is a great time for ancestral healing because, we're basically releasing everything that was historically repressed and coming into the Aquarius, the more humanitarian way of being. And it's time for just releasing all the old patterns, whether they're yours, they're someone else's that you've adopted, whether they're, it's just time to go all the way back and redefine that. So that's what Saturn, and because it's Saturn energy, it is through discipline. It is through dedication. It is through, it's a lot of pushing and a lot of never feels
hard work, pushing
hard
through.
work.
Yes.
There you go. Yeah. But that's why the restlessness also is part of that. And then we have Jupiter and Pluto, always a beautiful, Jupiter always brings luck and enhancement, and Pluto brings raw power again, and they're coming together. So there's a great possibility that the shift absolutely can happen. But the thing is, the free will, it depends on us. All of the cosmos can create this dance and create the conduit and the womb and the furnace and everything, but it really, when there's explosions like that, the end result completely depends on us, whether we stay on track and not lose sight. Communication becomes a big deal with the Gemini North Node. So the Gemini Sagittarius North Node is basically telling us, which is now what this eclipse is in, going to transfer. The eclipse North Node, this particular eclipse is still in the Cancer Capricorn node, which has been like that for the last 800 years. So we've had these Cancer Capricorn eclipses, which are all about going to the divine feminine from the masculine, going from structures to the mother and the intuition and the flow, and going to water from earth. So, but now, and this one has the same theme, but the next one, because this is the shifting where we're handing over the relay, is going to be about communicating using the Gemini energy about new possibilities openly, and being open to the new learning. So we are at the stage where, yes, I know so much, but there is still so much I do not know. And
okay, I have a question real quick. Yeah. So are you talking about what's going to start Saturday night to Sunday? Because it feels to me like, energetically, it feels like this craziness is going to calm down then, right? And so you're saying communication. So it's like, oh, we went through the, what did we say, contraction.
Yes.
And now we're going to calm down and we're going to birth this thing, baby, get it out of me. Sorry.
Exactly. No,
I got a little
absolutely.
excited.
Absolutely. Yes. Yes. Thank you for bringing that up. Because the lunar eclipses are all about endings. It's the full moon. It's, you know, that's what brings that energy of endings. And the solar eclipses are about new beginnings. So yes, we are literally at that point of shift, and then the new shift is going to, but this is a very energy of struggle, the struggle before the shift. The next eclipse, the next one coming up, is going to be about bringing in the new possibilities and rebirth. But this particular time is at the peak of the discomfort, the labor before the birthing is this time. And that's why, you know, the confusion comes from there, you know, because literally history is being written moment to moment. Things aren't as certain anymore. We're not in a certain energy at all at this point in time. So we are, you know, we're going through that shift as we speak. And, you know, it's just an intense time to purify, to close the loops, to eradicate the unconscious patterns. Just a great, 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 great time for subconscious healing, ancestral healing, you know, really. So the way through it is acknowledgement, acknowledging the vulnerability and not trying to fight. Oh my God, I'm feeling restless. I want to get away from the feeling. There is no getting away. You need to look inward. You need to go through the process. You need to acknowledge. And that's the only way out of it.
Yeah, me and Beth were talking about this before you came on. I said I'm really looking forward to Sunday because I have been spending, you know, I'm not immune from this at all. I'm very sensitive to energy. I'm like, I've been spending every day, I'm in meditation or I'm outside grounding. I've been outside grounding constantly. And then in meditation, and you get up, I want everyone to know this because you're not alone. You get up and you're like, okay, I got it. I did my meditation. I pulled my power back in. I'm standing in my power. I'm going to go kick some ass. What the hell? What just happened? I was just there, right? So it's just normal, you know, and I would go in, well, what do I need to look at? What do I need to look at? Let me look at this. Okay, I'm pulling my power and I'm getting up, I'm moving out. And sometimes it is just that you need to ground and you need to let that frustration or that confusion energy come out of you. So doing both of them, oh, I'm so looking forward to the end of this. Yes. Yeah.
I hear you. I mean, like literally everyone at this point in time is right there. And thank you for, again, that's the acknowledgement. Thank you for acknowledging that yes, we're all feeling this way. Yes, it's okay to feel this way. Yes, I want to go inward and nurture with the Cancer's mothering energy. I want to nurture my feelings and my wounds, and through that nurturing, the rebirth will come through. But yes, this eclipse is about the expression of the struggle, and the next one is about bringing in more flexibility and adapting to the changes ahead. So yes, that you nailed it down.
I like it. I like it. I'm ready to move on. Beth, what do you have to say about that?
I don't know. I'm wondering if this has anything, like there's been a big shift too in, so instead of, you know, grounding and meditation, I love to listen to, while I'm doing other things or doing nothing, YouTube videos. And I'm always trying to like learn. And even if I'm only picking up part of it, you know, just taking in more information, hearing different viewpoints. So I can just decide, I agree with that, I don't agree with that, that reminds me of, or I can bounce off of. So it just gives you more insight and more information. But lately I've been so adverse to all of that. And all I want to do is listen to music or play my singing bowls. Like music is not normal. I like music, but I've always thought there was something like a little bit wrong with me because it feels like everybody else like has always had this tie to music that I've never fully grasped, right? So all of a sudden it's this new thing for me that is pulling me in, and it's all new music. It's a complete shift, right? So that's one thing. And then the other thing is that's tied into that is that I've been pulled away from watching these videos or listening to all these videos, and I'm going through one of those stages again where it's like, no, the way you're going to get information is different. And it actually feels like I have been connected to a different information source altogether. It's not a new guide. It's not a new, it's nothing like that. It's almost, I see it in such a weird way, but it's almost like a tube that got connected from like a different area altogether, a different, I don't want to say machine, but a different source of wisdom has been completely shifted. So I don't know where that's coming from, but I'm seeing that really clearly. And I'm wondering.
That though, I think that last part, I think is a more of a personal thing. I think it is. I think, you know, you work on yourself and you get to point. I think that's more of a personal, this is where you're at now thing. The last part. Not the music. Okay.
I'm like, it could be, but I could also see how that could be more collective. And like, as you know, I'm curious because sometimes it is the way that things are aligned and the way that things are positioned that people get access to different information, not only because of the work that they've done, but because of the, like, you know, the benefactors. I don't know what the right word is, but it's just, you know, we're like the galactic benefactors that like feed this information.
I want to talk to my benefactors. Come here, benefactor. I need money. I need sense.
Well, abundance. This is the perfect time to manifest it as well, right? As we go through release, because it is a new moon, it is a solar eclipse. It's a beautiful time for all of that manifestation, and you know, whether it's manifestation of music, abundance, whatever it is. But you know, one thing I do, while I agree that yes, this is a personal shift, the only thing I want to add to it is that the sense you are getting possibly could be from the fact that we're aligning to the galactic center through this solar eclipse. So there could be that piece to it. Just you know, I'm just trying to put the pieces of the puzzle together like I always do. But
because it doesn't make sense what you say, and like it just, these conversations help, and like the reason I bring it up, whether it's personal or not, people don't know what's out there and available unless they know it's out there and available. So I swear, like the trippiest meditations ever, and I love them. They're phenomenal, but like sometimes I just like to share them because if you don't know to ask for it, you don't know to ask for it. So, you know.
That's true. I love your meditations.
Everybody ought to have like, access to all possible.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
I love that though. The Galactic Center makes a whole lot
of sense. And right now, that's a great point, Beth. Thank you for saying that. You have access to everything that's available right now. I know I'm working on some really crazy energetics. I'll let you know when I do it, Beth, but I'm not there yet. I mean, do it. If you can think it, you know, there's got to be a way to do it. So anything, think, you know, make your decision and hold your faith, stand in it. But yes, this is a great. Go ahead.
Actually voicing. I have not always been throughout my life, like intention has been enough for a lot of things. And right now it feels so strongly to me that whether it's a whisper or like a chant, you know, it has to be voiced. Like money. It's very powerful all of a sudden for me, which it has not always been. Like I know that that's something that many people have said for a long time, but whether that's a personal shift or something that's changed or like, but again, it's these like personal decisions. Like I used to do healing sessions for people without them knowing about it, you know, and I would just connect with their higher self, say, is this okay with you? Can I do this? This is my purpose. You know, you can take it where you want it. That's fine most of the time, but more and more I'm getting the feedback of, no, it needs to be that individual's decision. You need to communicate with them and they need to verbalize yes. Like, it's really interesting that like all of a sudden, and with myself too, that these things need to be like accepted and verbalized, whether it's a healing or whether it's something that I'm bringing in or pulling in for myself, it needs to be said. It's another thing that's been drilled in my head.
Yeah. Well, I should have brought a pen because there were other things you were talking about with you. You get so passionate about your reports. I love it. She's so passionate, right? She's like, and I'm like, how do you know all this? How do you keep this all in your head? But oh God, what was I gonna say? There was so much that you covered, and I think, you know, I'm just inviting anyone to, I'm going to put this on YouTube, and if you have questions, put them below if I can't answer them, I'll get it out of Mehernez, but or Beth, because she, me and Beth do a lot of similar stuff, but then our viewpoints together, for me, it just feels like we fill each other in sometimes. Like, I was gonna give you this much, but let me give you the rest. There was something, I don't know, when you started, go ahead. No, go ahead.
I'm going to give you a moment to think. So Mehernez, I know when you were talking, you did mention at least briefly, like the handing over from divine masculine to divine feminine. And then of course, like Venus and Lilith, like all bring up for me, like very divine feminine, feelings and thoughts, of course. So like, what, can you talk just a little bit more about like the handing off from masculine to feminine, or the influences there?
Yes, absolutely. So now this is like not just this has been the theme of eclipses in the past several eclipses, because there's every eclipse brings like a theme, and this eclipse is the last of that theme. So with the Capricorn, or the divine masculine, which is structure, order, everything that like financial institutions, or Capricorn, for instance, anything which is like structured and been there for years. It's like the archetype of the Hierophant, traditions and things that have been, the same way for years. And so the south node is we're moving away from that, and the north node is in Cancer. So that's everything about the feminine, about looking inward, looking at the self, intuition, just being at home and cooking for your loved ones, like we all have been right now through COVID. So that is the major theme of the eclipse, because the solar eclipse, which is the new moon, is going, is in Cancer. It's all about moving into the divine feminine as we speak, as this ring of fire goes through the cosmic womb and the cross. It's just so, we've been talking about the divine feminine rising, like it is happening this Saturday night, guys. It's literally, and we're leading up to it. So, because we've had many eclipses in that theme, but now this is the final eclipse in that theme, and we are at the peak of the 2020 shift, that we all decided to be born in. We decided to come to Earth during the shift, and to be light workers, and to help out, and to be way showers through this process. And this is it, literally. So thank you for pointing that out. Yes, this is a very important piece to this. Yes. Thanks, Beth.
Yeah. No, thank you. I love your information. So beautiful.
Great. I love.
Do you remember your question?
No, I can't remember anything. I'm like so excited about the rising of the divine feminine, but we all knew, we have known that, we've been doing a lot of work toward that. I think, and I didn't know a lot of males who are doing that too, which is, I mean, we all have masculine and feminine, but
no, it's, what, this is not just the rising of the divine feminine, but this is also the healing of the divine masculine, because what it is their understanding and acknowledging of the divine feminine that actually heals them. So think of so many like men who are not comfortable acknowledging their own feelings, for instance, and then they put that inside, and then they have their fun talk with their boys. Oh yeah, let's go kick some butt, but they're not, really looking for it. But I'm really feeling sad today, which is why I feel like going and kicking some butt. So that acknowledging that it's okay for you to do that. It's it's that old archetype that, oh, just because you're a man you cannot express your feelings. We're moving away from that. It's okay for you to look inward, acknowledge, and really be okay with your feelings, and which for them is harder than because we're always talking about our feelings, but for them it's like society does not allow that and does not make it okay. So yeah, absolutely.
I know, and another thing about that, because I think I'm excited, I'm just excited, but the rising of the divine feminine is not just for basic knowledge. If you're not aware, it's not about the feminine taking over where the masculine has been and pushing them down. It's about rising up so that we can we can make a balance. We need to make a balance. It needs to be balanced properly.
Thank you for addressing that. Exactly. Yeah,
Yes.
we're not here doing feminist talk. We're just saying that there has to be the balance. Yes, because one cannot function without the other. It's the two pieces, like you said, like you and Beth, the two pieces of the puzzle that fit right in. We need both the pieces to make the whole.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
Talking about it, so.
I know, I can send you. I'll do it. I always see it. I'll pull us out of that. I always see it as like I get these great visuals. I love them, but it's like a hand grabbing a hand and pulling it up, and then it switches and it's like this like ladder of hands that just like pull up, pull up, pull up, pull up, and it's finding the balance with giving each other a hand, you know. And I have to laugh. You guys always know I always have cards around me when we're talking and playing. So I split the deck when Mehernez was talking, and I have a card for each of you, and I'm gonna make you spit if you drink. So the first one was it was a door to personal healing and happiness. That was when you were talking about the healing of the feminine, right? So that was kind of cool. And then Nanette, I'm pretty sure this one's for you. This is patience.
What's it say? Why does it have to be for me? I want that. It's for you.
Because it's your favorite word.
It is not my favorite word. I hate that word.
It's all for all of us, because we all literally need all of that at this time.
Right.
What a beautiful doorway for healing, and we all really need to be.
All right, we'll give that to her. Yeah.
Then
that's
jokingly aside, the last one, because there's 3, victory.
Oh, thank you.
Absolutely. Like,
Beautiful.
I'll joke.
true. I like it. I like it.
And
Yeah.
that victory is literally up to how we work with this energy. Literally, it's up to us. It is ours, it is ours. So we're going to manifest today. How about we just do a prayer of manifestation that our world will come out of this victorious. But yeah.
Okay.
But yeah, let's just all join hands in prayer today. Ground our energies. We are of God. We ground ourselves to the earth. We call in all of our guides and our angelics and our way showers. We thank you for always being there for us. Thank you for giving and opening this door of healing. Thank you for giving us these beautiful portals and opportunities. And let's just see ourselves. Let's all of us see ourselves. Open this door and walk through this door and walk into birthing our new selves, and breathe that in. And what we wish for Gaia, for the collective, for all of us, is that we all visualize walking through that door of healing and coming out of it and going on to the other side victorious. Remember that there is only love. Remember that all the struggles eventually lead to that oneness. Just remember the goal. It is okay to go through our struggles, and it is okay to ask for justice, and it is okay to speak our minds, as long as we do not lose track of the goal. And may we come out of it victorious. May Gaia come out of it victorious. May we rebuild this beautiful new world. And may you assist us in doing so. Thank you. Thank you for being here. Thank you for always being here with us.
Thank you, Mehernez.
Very nice. Okay. So I hope everyone enjoyed this. Oh, I love you all. And we will.
Thank you for doing this together. Thank you, ladies.